Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling. And this week we are back to full health, all three of us. I'm Keeney and I'm joined by Krusty and Fisher.
Hey everyone.
Hi guys.
The full complement for the first time in a week
full
or
house
so.
of Recharge.
Yeah, exactly. And we are here today to kind of go through the news segment as is normal at the start, and then we'll just break that into the normal week of wrestling: Smackdown, Raw, NXT, and AEW at the end. So let's start with the news. And this news actually broke just after our last pod recording, so it isn't exactly breaking news, but it's still news that we haven't discussed yet, nonetheless. And that's the first Hall of Fame induction for 2022, and it is maybe the most deserving Hall of Famer of all time, The Undertaker.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
I was shocked he wasn't in there already.
Yeah, I mean, they tend to, like, if someone retires, obviously they do it then quite often, or leaves.
I mean, he
whatever.
retired a few years ago, didn't he?
But yeah,
retired.
I think they wait as well because it's in Texas and that's Undertaker's from Texas. Sometimes they wait for specific places before they do it. And I think that made sense here. They could have done it 2 years ago, probably, but they decided to do it then, which is completely fine. But yeah, like you said, there's no one more deserving. And I've seen some people say maybe he should be the only inductee this year. They just don't do anybody else.
Yeah, I saw a idea that maybe they should, rather than have loads of inductees, just have the Undertaker, but have maybe like different people induct him. So have like a big speech from Kane, big speech from Vince, a big speech from Triple H, and just kind of go through.
Yeah, the whole night. Yeah.
Do that rather than have here's Molly Holly. I don't know, she might already be in there, but people like that, and just kind of run through.
Poor Molly Holly.
I was trying to think of someone random who's probably will go in there. So yeah, I guess there's not much more to say. Just well done, Undertaker, and I think it will be I think it would be a really fitting. And to be honest, I don't really ever pay attention to the Hall of Fame. I don't really watch them. No. This is the one I might watch. The one I'm most looking forward to, I guess. Krusty does an Undertaker impression for those.
I do wonder who else is going to go in if they do it this year. There's quite a few, They normally have, obviously, he'd be the main eventer. Then you normally have like a couple of other sort of lower down the card guys that deserve it. Then you get a woman, and then you normally get a celebrity inductee or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So there's quite a few, normally. I haven't heard anyone else. I haven't heard anyone else speculated yet at all. Other than, and this can be a little bit of a segue. I heard Jeff Hardy got offered a place in it and turned it down.
Go segue onto some other news.
But that does segue onto the other news that we have this week. If you want to, unless you've got anything else to say about the Undertaker, guys.
No, segue.
So obviously we'll get to it later, but we saw the debut of Buddy Matthews, formerly known as Buddy Murphy, on Dynamite last night. But it also seems that AEW is adding two more, and there'll probably be more, let's face it, knowing Tony Khan. Two more fairly big names one really big name and one fairly big name to their roster by signing Jeff Hardy and Shane Swerve Strickland, formerly known as Isaiah Swerve Scott. Those seem to be done deals confirmed by the wrestlers themselves. So Fightful, Sean Rossap reported yesterday that Shane Strickland was going to AEW, and Shane Strickland basically confirmed it on his Twitter with just a little wink face and saying, yeah,
that's a good signing. That is a great signing.
He's going there. And then out of the blue, Jeff Hardy was doing an interview with somebody yesterday, and he just said, yeah, I'm going to AEW, by the way. Like, just randomly out of the blue. His non-compete, I think, has still got a couple of weeks left, like 2-3 weeks maybe. I think Shane Strickland's has got also a little bit of time.
When's Revolution? How many weeks?
It's interesting. That's next weekend. So I think we're about a week and a half away.
He couldn't turn up there then.
Yeah, so I was thinking, because I don't think we probably get onto it later when we get to AEW, so I think I'm safe saying it now, but they kind of set up a 6-man tag, like a really random 6-man tag for Revolution with like Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, and Andrade v. Sammy, and Darby and Sting. I think it's just a really random one. And I thought that's really random. Then you said this to me earlier, Fish, and I thought, oh, maybe that's why they're doing this match.
And Matt Hardy has walked out. He walked out on the match on Dynamite as well. He walked out on Private Party in the Battle Royal.
Maybe that'll be their first feud, because surely they're going to do the Hardy brothers. Yeah,
I think they're going to get Matt go back with Jeff and maybe do first Private Party as the first feud. I think that's
AEW need more tag teams.
They're pretty much setting it up as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I'm torn on this one. These are amazing signings. I can't wait to see them both on TV. But at what point do AEW kind of stop by signing people? It's just a bit much, and I think it almost feels like Tony Khan is so obsessed with like breaking news and has to do something massive every time, and he keeps coming out, I've got a huge announcement for this week, huge announcement for this week. I have to, and it's just like
maybe
you can
that
just
is
run
a
your show
business tactic. Maybe that's why he's doing it.
Yeah, but I
people
think
are talking about it all the time. It's free advertising, isn't it?
They are, and they're doing well, but there has to be a limit to his checkbook. Surely there has to be a point. And I know
people are leaving.
Wrestlers are leaving now. We are seeing that a bit more. But I just think I would like to see them use some of their current people they've got maybe a little bit more. Like, I think there's more you could do with even a Penta. You know, we've finally seen Adam Cole do something, but it's taken him a little while to get there. And I just think there's a few, and even down the cards, like, you know, when's Ricky Starks going to get a big push? When's Hobbs going to get a push? When are we going to see Wardlow in the title scene? Like, and if they just keep signing top stars after top stars, it's kind of pushing them into these like big angles. It's that there has to be a point where they settle on a roster and then tell stories with that roster.
Yeah, I do. I get what you're saying. I've seen some criticism recently that they're not telling stories that well anymore compared to like a year or two back, and they're just adding more and more people rather than.
Yeah,
they do seem to rush feuds a bit, don't they?
There are still some great stories like the CM Punk MJF feud and various others, you know. But there is criticism. Sometimes there's not a storyline. It's just this person appears, then this person appears, then this person. You know. Like you're catching Pokemon or something.
It's like Adam Cole and Adam Page. Their feud, I don't think, has been long enough.
Yeah. And I said the same about you know, Lance Archer as well. They didn't do much.
That was a rushed match. Yeah.
If you compare it to Omega Page, which they dragged out for a year and a half. When I say dragged out, it wasn't. It was beautifully sculpted. It was amazing.
Yeah,
they are rushing them now. It's like trying to get everyone on TV, keep everyone happy.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're going to get some unhappy people because everyone wants to be on Dynamite or at least on Rampage quite often.
Yeah,
if they're not, and you're just on YouTube, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think Dark cuts it, and I think you know, we've still got Omega to come back. We haven't seen Miro for a long time. He was one of the top stars.
So what's happened to Miro?
Yeah, he's just been taken off TV, and that's fine. I think it's fine to take people off TV for a while, especially when your roster's that stacked. But I did have a point, but I've just forgotten it. But yeah, I just think they need to they just need to kind of calm down.
They've basically gone the opposite of WWE, haven't they? They've released far too many people. And WWE and AEW are signing too many people, and you're getting one now with a massive roster and one with not a big enough roster.
Yeah, and also
that sounds like a segue.
Hang on, let me just make one more point, then we'll move on. I think there's two quick things. There's a lot of women out there who they could have signed, Toni Storm or someone Ember Moon.
I think Ember Moon.
There's a few. Tegan Knox, there's loads WWE have just released that are really talented. I think they probably dose more than they need a Swerve. As much as I love Swerve as a sign-in, but I actually don't think Swerve. I think Swerve and Jeff Hardy are sort of signings they should be making
over a lot of their mid-card they have now.
Well, it's the signings they made previously. Like, I'm going to bring him up again, but Tony Nese. I don't know why they signed him. It's just people like that, and even like bringing Jay White in the other week. It just seems a bit random. I just don't know why they bring these people in on like 2-3 week contracts, whatever they do. It's just a bit weird for me. I'd rather them give that 2-3 week stint to someone on their roster.
I guess the idea is trying to bring in people who like Jay White and people like that to watch AEW and then go, actually, this is awesome. I'm going to stick with this show.
Yeah.
That is definitely why they do it. And it pleases
like when people used to go to Impact, isn't it? We used to watch the odd match because someone was going over there, whereas normally we wouldn't bother. So
that's
same
true.
sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
New Japan as well. When Jericho was there.
Yep. Yeah,
I watched a few matches.
I watched Wrestle Kingdom, and I'd never watched Wrestle Kingdom before when Jericho went there, just because he was there on a one sort of. He ended up doing more than one match, but just for that match, really, originally him against Omega, and ended up watching the whole show. And it didn't get me to watch it every week, but it made me like go, oh, next time Wrestle Kingdom's on, I might check it out, kind of thing. So yeah, I get the point of it, but at the same time, you don't want to make your own roster unhappy, and there's not any reports of that. But
yeah, I mean, an example of that is Brian Cage.
Yeah,
he was made unhappy by not being used, and off he went. I don't know what he's doing now, but I used to really like him. Actually,
he still is technically contracted to AEW, I think, but.
Is he? They're never going to use him, though, are they?
They just don't use him, yeah.
No, yeah.
There's a few of those guys out there. I mean, Leo Rush came in and was gone like after a couple of a month.
Well, yeah, and like some of their stars they were pushing have kind of been, Dante Martin a little bit forgotten about. He was being pushed. Scorpio Sky we've seen in the past pushed. He's been a bit forgotten about, and that's the downside is when you sort of do stars is there are people like Scorpio Sky that just get pushed aside, and like Jay Lethal's another one, yeah.
The stars have a sell-by date on them, though, don't they? There's only so long Jericho's going to wrestle, Punk's going to wrestle, Bryan's going to wrestle. You've got all these guys that aren't going to be full time. At the moment, they're going in hard, but eventually they're either going to take a step back or their contract's going to run out, and they're not going to renew because they want to go elsewhere or they just want to stop wrestling again. So these guys, hopefully, that sort of keep being the workhorses in the background will then get that push.
Yeah, and they tend to recycle the people pretty well, to be fair. Like normally someone will be gone for a bit and then like Dante Martin wasn't on TV at all, then he suddenly was getting pushed. Now he's been pushed back down the card. And like Daniel Garcia was just in a main event last night, and then he might not get pushed for a month, but then he might get, so they do recycle people quite well, but when it gets to a point when that becomes impossible because you've got too many people. But yeah. We'll get more Dynamite talk later about the actual show itself.
Yeah, let's move on to SmackDown. And
I think talking about sort of rosters being too stacked or too thin probably segues onto my skid mark. Might as well carry on being negative. So my skid mark's down to recycling of content on WWE's part. So, and this is obviously down to the amount of releases they've made. So the roster's not thick enough deep enough for them to actually have different matches all the time. And they'd have to really think about it or it'd be completely random. So just ones I could think of. We had Sheamus versus Ricochet. Which I don't know how many times we've said that now. And then if we go sort of skipping ahead to Raw, we had Rhea versus Nikki at ASH, which I think we've had about 4 or 5 times now. I think even Rhea said that's 5 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought the Elimination Chamber, that was like that.
Yeah, there didn't need to be another one after that.
They're not thinking about it. They're just throwing this one together. We had Doudrop versus Belair. I'm not saying they're not good matches because it was amazing, but same again, sort of recycling content. Street Profits versus Alpha Academy.
They've had so many matches. They were both on SmackDown before, and they had like quite a lot. And then they've gone over to Raw. And they've never had a proper feud. They always have matches to set up other feuds, it seems. They've had a lot of matches. I saw a stat about it a while back when they last had a match. It was only a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, they're always good, but it's just the same over and over again. It shows all those releases they've made, they've gone too far.
Yeah, exactly. We were criticising profits AEW for the amount of signings, but with the amount of releases from WWE, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And,
if they could both find a middle ground, it'd be great. But...
If they could have kept even, they released like 100 wrestlers last year or whatever it was. If they'd even kept 20 or 30 of them around, you'd have a thicker main roster. Even if it's mid-card guys, don't all have to be like. I'd love them to have kept people like Bray Wyatt, who were main event stars, and Jeff Hardy, and even if they'd have just kept some of the middle card guys, Like Buddy Murphy's a great example of it, actually. Someone who can put on a good match and was good. Just keep him around. Have matches on Raw or SmackDown against people just in the mid card. Maybe an IC title, US title feud. Like, it'd be great, but no, we don't get that. It's because the roster's too small, and that's why it is a good skid mark. Because this week, I feel like recently it's been a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, Raw did feel good because we had a lot of these different segments.
Yeah,
but a lot of this, as I've said before, is bringing in big stars who are not going to hang around. So after WrestleMania, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
Who's going to have the same matches over and over?
Yeah, because you're not going to have
taking away
probably
these
Lesnar,
promos.
Goldberg, Lita,
Brock, Edge,
Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah. Even people like that.
Whoever it is, it's always it's adding another dynamic to the roster. The only thing I can think of is they're waiting until after Mania to drag a load of NXT through. I
think they might call up a few. I mean, we discussed that before.
They are due NXT call up like pack, aren't they? Like a 5 or 6.
I think Ciampa's definitely coming up from what we've seen, but we'll get to that when we get to Raw.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But first, SmackDown, and obviously most of the show was Elimination Chamber focus. We won't cover that because we've covered Chamber with a couple of a pod and a couple of YouTube videos which you can find on our YouTube channel. But I think the main talking point from SmackDown, aside from Chamber hype, was Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental belt.
Yeah,
which we discussed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I said that.
Was it last week? We mentioned it, about that being our skid mark, me and Fisher, about this being spoiled for us. So this was, we knew the result, but that being said, it was still a really good match.
Yeah, it was good. And I mean, I think a few weeks ago when the match was made, I predicted that they'd do it on the before the Saudi show to have a match where, because obviously neither of them will go into Saudi Arabia, and they could put it on SmackDown before, and they'd probably do a title change. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, it was good. But yeah, it was spoiled purely by the fact I wasn't invested in it because I knew what happened. WWE, we didn't say what exactly they did last week because we didn't want to spoil it, but they tweeted that there was a title change on SmackDown, and obviously this is the only title match on the show.
That's
so
insane.
We knew,
absolutely insane.
That was their tweet. Title change on tape show. Okay, cool. Well, now we know what's happened. Like
you didn't even need to read the comments or click on the link to know.
Just
if you did, and the first comment,
fair enough if
people
you
in
see
the audience
because someone random's tweeted it from the show.
Yeah,
but
they are covering their own back because people are gonna they'd rather spoil it themselves than someone else spoil it for them. But I just think you could have said, tape in results, click here if you want to find out. You don't have to make it so clear in your, because there are people that don't want to know, and
I'd rather have not known. Like, I would have enjoyed the match a lot more. I thought the match itself was good. I'd say the finish was a bit strange. I think that was.
He took out his knee, didn't he? And
yeah, just didn't expect it. It wasn't like a dirty finish. It was a clean finish, but it wasn't. He didn't use his finisher or anything. It was kind of not a roll up, but not decisive at the same time.
Yeah, I think Zayn is a good IC champ. How long term it is, I don't know, because I think I really think there's a chance Johnny Knoxville wins the belt at Mania. I think there's a real chance that happens.
Yeah, I wanted Zayn to win the title, but I wanted him to. I thought that Johnny Knoxville was only going to be able to Rumble, and then we'd get Sami Zayn win that afterwards, and he could defend it in like a multi-man match. Maybe like you could put Sheamus in there, and Nakamura could get in there as well, and maybe like a Drew McIntyre or something. You have like a big fatal 4-way match or something for the title, or even like they used to at Mania all the time when they used to have 6-man ladder matches, 7-man ladder matches for the IC belt. I remember them doing that before. I remember Zack Ryder winning one. And remember that when he pushed the Miz off the ladder, and then the Miz won it back on Raw the next night. Yeah,
well, actually, I think that may happen here. I think, obviously, John Knoxville's not having a long run. Maybe he loses it on the SmackDown after Mania.
He probably
Sami Zayn again.
Just does what Nicholas and Braun Strowman did when they won the tag belts. If he wins, which is turns up and goes, "Yeah, I'm not actually going to have this." By the way, so he wins it and then he just drops it without even having a match.
That could be quite cool if you then. Had a tournament or something for it.
I wouldn't mind it if they do that.
The last time we had that, I'm sure we had that Daniel Bryan AJ Styles match, which for the IC belt, which was like went on for like half of SmackDown.
Yeah, that was an amazing match.
I'm sure that was the end of the tournament for the IC belt.
Yeah.
When Sami Zayn had to forfeit it or something. I'm sure that was it. But yeah, I think, again, unless you guys say otherwise, I think the only other thing really worth mentioning on SmackDown was, you mentioned before, Sheamus and Ricochet. And this, oh no, was it? Yeah, it was Sheamus and Ricochet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this led to some friction between Sheamus and Ridge Holland. What do you guys think? Do you reckon this is too soon? Do you reckon this is...
Yeah, I
think they've tried it out, haven't they? They've tried this sort of coalition between the two, and it's probably not quite working as they'd expect. So maybe it is time to split them up and maybe let Ridge try and go on his own.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really tagged other than against Ricochet and random partner.
Cesaro.
Yeah, or didn't we have Ricochet and someone else 1 week, I think? Or maybe it was Cesaro.
No, I think it's been Cesaro both
times. Yeah, but I mean, maybe if you throw them in a tag division, you might see something from them. They're both, it's kind of like a lesser version of the Bar, isn't it? I mean, Ridge.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think Vince may have given up on Ridge Holland already. That's what I think.
Yeah, my first thought was poor Ridge. Poor Ridge.
Well,
here.
The fact they're split, their season splitting them up. I can see if they split them up, I don't think Ridge wins the feud. Like if they feuded, I think Sheamus would just beat him.
And then Ridge will be on the release list.
Well, hopefully not, but
probably.
Would it surprise you? No.
Although they must have been hiring him because they skyrocketed him from NXT UK to the main roster with a very short NXT stint.
Yeah.
So he got rocketed when I don't think any of us were watching him on NXT UK thinking this guy is going to the main roster. So
no.
They saw something in him that we didn't.
I was quite big on him though. I did enjoy him.
I thought he was good, but I thought NXT was probably his.
And the thing is, they had a very short run. Even with the Pete Dunne run was very short, wasn't it? And then the Sheamus run could be very short. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. They could have that had more legs definitely. With I liked the faction with Pete Dunne and Only Lorcan and Danny Burch, and then they just stopped it.
Yeah, I think that was just a War Games thing, wasn't it? And with Pat McAfee in the end, who took Ridge Holland's place. All right, then let's move on to Raw. Short and sweet for SmackDown this week. I mean, what's the main talking point here? Well, something I want to mention early doors is I think you predicted it, Fish. Logan Paul is the Miz's partner at Mania.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have I saw after the Elimination Chamber show people talking about it, and it seemed like it was going to happen.
And like I said on the Elimination Chamber recap show with Krusty that my first thought was Cody Rhodes, and we did get a little tease.
I
from
love
the
tease from the Miz here. I loved it.
He said it'd be Dashin, and again, it's a reference to Dashin Cody Rhodes from WWE, which kind of worried me a bit because I hope he's not going back to anything Dashin. I don't want to connect.
I just think
Cody Rhodes
they knew people would know. They knew people. Their audience. They knew the WWE audience would remember that. There's no point in them doing an AEW Cody reference because half of the WWE audience may not know that.
But he could have done Rhodes. I think he could have been like.
They did. In fact, I think Edge did make a hint about Cody as well in his promo, which we'll talk about in a bit. Which was not as obvious as Miz's one, and I think it was more the AEW version of Cody that he was talking about. But yeah, that when he said my partner's dashing, my notes I wrote down was makes Cody reference, but it's clearly not going to be Cody then.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I heard that, I was like, that's too obvious. You're not going to do that and then bring Cody out. I was like, it's definitely going to be Logan Paul. And to be fair, Logan Paul and the Miz, I don't like Logan Paul being there.
What a banging pair.
If you compare him with anyone,
straight away they were loving it, weren't they? They was absolutely loving it. I thought actually this is quite funny, and everyone loves to hate Logan Paul, just like everybody loves to hate the Miz.
Yeah, they are well suited.
Match made in heaven, isn't it? And he even tried a skull crushing finale.
Yeah, I thought he looked a bit awkward doing that.
I thought that, but then I thought actually maybe they're purposely landing differently to make sure it doesn't, because he sort of landed on his side, which I think is to protect his face. Because I think if you cock it up, you're going straight into the mat head first. But fair play if they're actually going to try and get him to wrestle. I mean, I used to hate this sort of thing, but when the last person we thought, oh God, are they going to be able to wrestle, was Bad Bunny, and he was absolutely insane. You got to remember, Logan Paul is an athlete.
Yeah, he is a fighter. Yeah.
So hopefully he can do something.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Tyson Fury being all right in the WWE ring.
Hopefully, we don't get a Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, Cain Velasquez not so much.
I didn't
The
really.
best thing
I didn't
about
think
him
Tyson
was his
Fury
entrance.
was good either.
His entrance music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, they beat up Mysterio's here. But yeah, I loved Miz's section of the promo here was really, really good. The teasing, I really enjoyed that section of it.
Yeah, Miz is great. Again, Miz can sell you on any Mania match. So he's just one of the best, probably the best WWE have for the moment in that role. And we mentioned it briefly, talking about great promos. Edge just doing what he does best, sitting in the chair, middle of the ring, and just speaking passionately at the camera, and has just opened up an open challenge to whoever wants to face him at Mania.
And again, he referenced a few guys here. So he starts off going, so it says something about being phenomenal, and I was like, oh yes.
I was like,
which is the
AJ,
one
here we go.
Which is the one I think they will do.
Want.
That's
the one I think they will do, because AJ wasn't on this show feuding with anyone else. That's the clue. He also made a reference to Cody. I can't remember exactly what he said about Cody, but he made a slight reference to Cody.
That could be an interesting first match for Cody in WWE again. Is Edge Mania.
It would be a big one as well.
Yeah.
The other ones he mentioned were Finn Balor. He mentioned Finn Balor by saying something about his demons. And he also said live forever as well. So hinting at Damian Priest. So they're
should be good as well.
I don't think it'll be Damian Priest, because unless Balor wins the United States Championship next week, that's the only way I could see that. Because I don't think Edge is going for the United States title. That seems a bit weird.
I think whoever's faces him, I think Edge is putting them over.
Yeah,
Edge has had a very good winning streak.
I think it's Edge v AJ Styles. I really do.
Yeah,
okay, so you think Edge is losing at Mania?
Yeah, I do.
I don't necessarily, but
I think if it's Cody, yeah. If it's AJ, I mean,
I think AJ needs a good win.
I think AJ's a 50-50 one, to be honest with you. I mean, he has just signed. That's another bit of news we could have had, actually. AJ Styles signed a new contract.
That's great news.
He is getting paid by what I've heard as well.
They can't afford to lose AJ Styles right now.
He would go, and they would have him like a flash. So they have to pay.
He'd be in AEW's roster.
Anybody would take him.
Anybody
would take him.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, isn't he?
He is phenomenal. I'm glad he's staying. Really am.
Yeah. All right. We'll jump. Actually, no. I can kind of segue on here to Damian Priest. We mentioned him briefly, and we have him and Balor next week. Kind of. Who did he beat on the show? Cedric, was it? And he beat.
It was Shelton Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin. Yeah, one of the two. He beat Shelton Benjamin, and then
it was a good match.
At the end, he made a comment about wants to face someone world title caliber.
I thought Cody might come out here.
Well, I was thinking, I was like, well, what's he on about? You've faced and beat Kevin Owens and AJ Styles in the last couple of, recently. They're world title caliber. And I was thinking Seth. I was trying to think who would come out, and then Finn Balor.
I've got a bit of an announcement to make. I actually booked Raw because I said no, I don't. But I said was it last week or the week before? We were talking about Mania feuds they should do, or feuds in the build up to Mania, whatever.
Yeah.
And I said that they should do Priest v Balor, and Balor hadn't even been on the TV for like a month, so I wasn't expecting it. I was like, that was what I wanted. And I couldn't believe it when Balor come out here, especially as he appeared earlier on in the show. I didn't expect him twice.
Yeah, double duty for Finn Balor.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're going to get another prediction here. A DQ finish or something like that here. And it's going to lead to Demon V. I think that's what's going to happen now.
Mania has a big...
it's
a big match at Mania.
Demon. And then you can have Balor win the United States title. I don't really see what else Balor does at Mania, and I don't really see what else Priest does at Mania. So I think
I'm a bit worried about Priest. I mean, Shelton Benjamin was getting cheers over Priest.
Was he?
Yeah. I
didn't notice
that. Getting out cheered.
Was he in his hometown or something though? I think Shelton Benjamin. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't.
I don't know. I feel like if that's the case, then possibly that's why he sort of had the match as well. But I'm just concerned about Priest. I think if you go back sort of 3 or 4 months ago, we were massive on him and we were like, this guy is going to the top. I think that weird story with him losing the plot has damaged him big time. They should have kept on with him just being a face, I think. This heel stuff. As much as he looks like he really could be a great heel, I don't think he's just coming over well enough at the moment.
I think he's
don't know how
too
you
cool.
guys feel.
I just think he's really cool. His whole demeanor, the way he acts, I think he looks really cool. So I again, it's one of those things. It wasn't broken. I just think you could just keep him how he is. But I think sometimes they get a bit. What is Damian Priest?
What I did like here though is this was a bit more like the old Damian Priest. He just won clean. There was no, because he could have got Cedric interfered on the outside, and I thought, okay, now is when he's going to lose it and turn into Damian, and it's going to end in a DQ or something like that. But it didn't. He just got in the match and won with the reckoning and pin against Shelton Benjamin. If he didn't beat him like that, then no offense to Shelton, but who are you? Because he's not been put in that. Shelton Benjamin's a lower card wrestler now. Yeah. So if Damian Priest isn't beating him clean,
he's probably the bottom of the roster. Actually, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric are probably the bottom two. Now.
Apart from maybe Akira Tozawa and Reggie, the 24/7 guys.
Oh yeah,
apart from they count them.
They don't really wrestle, do they?
Tozawa's not even a wrestler anymore, is he? Unfortunately,
he tried to kiss Tamina on this show.
He did, and let's quickly let's quickly touch that. Reggie and Dana. I mean, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know where we're.
I don't mind this. I don't mind it.
But as far as 24/7 goes,
it feels very old school WWE. It does.
Yeah. I loved him kicking out. I loved Reggie. The crowd actually popped for that.
And then Dana kissed him to get the free count, which is very like
I liked
Attitude Era.
It is.
But I love the crowd's reaction to this.
Yeah.
I love the crowd's reaction when he kicked out of two. They did pop hard for it. But I have to say, actually, the crowd on Raw this week was really good compared to recent times. I feel like a lot of the time you can hear the piped-in crowd noise more than you can hear the actual fans. But I could hear you could tell it was the actual fans quite a lot on this show. They seemed up for it, which helps. And even in this 24/7 segment, there were what chants when Reggie was talking, which was a bit, I don't like the what chants, but at least they're saying something. But maybe they were expecting Stone Cold, so.
I have seen a few Stone Cold signs, to be honest, in the crowd.
Yeah.
They're waiting.
But yeah, I thought the segment was okay.
Yeah, okay.
Apart from the weird bit with Tozawa and Tamina, I was like, okay, what's that all about?
It's just comedy. It's just their version of comedy, isn't it? Well, we mentioned Stone Cold, and let's move on to his potential Mania opponent, but maybe not. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, who, again, this was another repeat match, but one we didn't mind so much against RK Bro. Whereas if they won, they got added to the tag title match in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
on Raw.
I don't mind doing repeat matches if they're meaningful. This had stakes.
Seth and KO won.
Clean as well, wasn't it?
The ending,
clean win.
The ending to this match was great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, amazing. Just the stunner into the stomp, wasn't it?
And they did even before that. Actually, they did a senton. KO did a senton, then Seth did a frog splash. And I just think some of their, considering they're not really a tag team, are they? The two individuals that have been thrown together, two top stars, of course, so they're going to be good. But some of their moves go really well together, set up each other. Like the stunner sets up the stomp perfectly. So it really works.
Now I'm kind of, again, the Mania plans, I'm confused again. I think at Mania they might just do a fatal 4-way tag with these guys and the Profits. That seems to me their most likely outcome. I think that surely Owens Stone Cold is going to happen, or something's going to happen with a match or not. But then what does Seth do if that happens?
What I think is the plan. What I think they're going to do is I reckon Owens and Rollins together is the backup plan, which is why they've done this match. If they can't get the Stone Cold match to happen, because they want it to happen, whether Stone Cold's agreed to it yet or not. And I think the other match that they'll do is Rollins v Cody. Because that'd
be a banger.
That's what I can see them do. If Cody comes in, I know everyone
he's even
signed
yet. But
the references on this show, they're doing
dashing. They are saying it. To me, the references confirmed it to me this week. Yeah.
I think that's the match that makes sense. Because otherwise, what's Rollins going to do? And Rollins v Cody is a big match. So.
Yeah, it's huge.
And that would, on the Raw side, then you'd have some, because they haven't got.
Or I guess
there's no Raw title match, is there? Because the title be title. It feels like a Smackdown match, really, because it's Roman. So you can have Edge v AJ, Cody v Rollins, and Owens v Stone Cold, and Priest v Balor, maybe. There's like 4. And obviously you've got Becky and Bianca on the women's side, which is going to be, a big women's match. That gives you 5 big matches for Raw Mania. What RK Bro do then? I don't know, though. That's the only problem.
Alpha Academy, Street Profits, and some mixed tag, probably. Multi-man tag.
Unless they break them up and do them against each other, but I don't think that's
too late. That could go from Rumble. You can't do that with like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need more
Doesn't
time
do it
for
justice.
that. No, I agree with you, but
I agree. More time for that. So you mentioned Becky and Belair, and we got them to hyping up their match.
Yeah,
WrestleMania on this show. I think I thought that was worth a mention.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have anything to say about that one?
Yeah,
I just really like the promo. Nothing specific.
I really like the way they played on the history between the two of them.
It's coming to that Belair win. That's what it's coming for.
Yeah, it does have to. Belair does have to win this, I think.
Yeah,
that's the way the story makes sense.
Yeah, and Becky's had that title. I mean, she dropped it for when she had a baby, but she hasn't actually lost and dropped that title.
I think she said 3 years.
3 years. It was the triple threat at Mania 35, wasn't it, against Ronda and Charlotte when she won it. She's literally when she's been active, she's had the title since then. She does not
insane,
need to,
isn't it?
Yeah, I know she was gone for a long time, but still mad. And the fact it was Bianca she beat in 26 seconds, was it? They said, that they have to make it up. They have to make up for it, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I really like their history. I really liked some of Becky's lines actually, because she said, what she did to Lita. Lita's someone she loves. And what she did to her, she's like, imagine what I will do to someone I despise.
That was banging.
That was a great line.
That was a great line.
And there's a couple of others as well where I was like, this is really cutting like deep now. Like they're really going for it.
I actually kind of liked when she was like, the reason the fans boo me is because it was you. If I'd have done that to anyone else, they'd have cheered me. And it's like, oh, you're probably right. I should have done the exact same thing, but to Charlotte Flair, be like, oh, what should be the biggest face ever?
Yeah,
but because it was Belair, so it actually kind of even justifies her heel character, which I think is the first time we've had that, which was great as well.
Yeah, I thought Becky's promo here in particular was excellent. Bianca's was good as well. Before Becky come out, especially, she's just a heartfelt promo. She's just so naturally likable, I think. Belair, which helps. I think she can just talk to the crowd about herself and her background, and people just like her. Quite easy to do. And then obviously we got the match after that, so we should probably talk about the match with Doudrop as well. I know Krusty will
mention Belair just showing off insane power, being able to suplex Doudrop, and then again went for the KOD.
Yeah,
she's just insane.
I was mentioning the crowd earlier, and how the crowd went nuts for those last two moves. When she did that big, was it suplex?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And then the KOD from the corner, the crowd were like, you could see them jumping off their seats. And
it's just so
you don't
good.
get that on
it's
Raw
just incredible.
Much. No. Yeah, it's great.
You don't tend to get that too much anymore, do you? In men's wrestling, there's not someone who's so big and they're like absolutely outstanding when they're picking them up. Maybe you could do something like that with Omos. That could be quite cool if you had one of the smaller guys manage to lift him. Because I miss the days of the big show. But
yeah,
well,
he's
small
like
enough,
that kind of. He's kind of that guy where he's stronger than pound for pound, the strongest guy.
Let's get Rey Mysterio picking Omos up.
I'd love to see that.
Ray and Don together probably could struggle.
Yeah.
But we don't really have that, do we, in the men's division anymore? Used to get it with like Big Show, Rikishi. When people lifted him up, it was like,
remember Viscera as well. Viscera, people used to pick him up. It'd be a big. That would be a big deal. Yeah, just a random shout for Viscera, first time on the pod.
Yeah. I've got to give Doudrop as well credit because she was selling the moves brilliantly. I thought in this match,
she seems to have settled down.
She's had a really good run. Okay, even Maria Ty, she had a great run on the main
Yeah,
roster.
she came up to the main roster in a dodgy way. People criticised the name, obviously the name and the
name's
Marie
still
thing. Everyone was like,
yeah.
I know, but you get used to it after a while, don't you?
Yeah.
At first, when she came up, everyone was like, oh God, this is not good. Like, but then now she's had these random matches with Bianca, a few wins here and there. Obviously, the title match against Becky.
She's living the dream, isn't she, really?
I think she's in a good spot, yeah. She needs to, obviously she needs probably to win a few more matches, but other than that, I think they've booked her well recently.
I think she's settled down as well, because I think a few weeks back she was messing some moves up slightly, hurting the superstars somewhat. I think it was a match with Liv. She didn't do too well, but now they seem
she landed on her ribs, didn't she?
Yeah, they seem to have gone, those blunders now. So hopefully that continues and she can settle into this role and sort of see how things go, really. But yeah, great match. Again, I know it was a recycled one, but the match was great and the promo leading it to it was good.
Yeah, definitely. Other stuff on the show, there's a few other things. We've left it till now to mention, but Brock Lesnar was on the show.
I just love the way he came
he's
out.
hilarious.
He looks so cool.
Yeah, he looks brilliant, and just he come out and then Heyman come out and they were going back and forth, and Heyman saying that he has to defend it before Mania at this Madison Square Garden show, which isn't televised. I don't believe.
No, I was confused because when they said the date, I thought it was a SmackDown show. Because I thought, did they say the 5th?
They said Saturday, the 3rd of March.
Right, okay. Because I looked and I thought at first they were counter programming with Revolution.
The 3rd is a Thursday. So it mustn't have been the 3rd.
No, I don't think it was a 3rd. I think it's a Friday or something. But I thought it was maybe SmackDown because I believe it's the day before Revolution. But maybe Revolution's on a Sunday, not a Saturday then.
I think it's a Saturday Revolution.
That's odd because
I'm sure they said Saturday.
Yeah, they maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really see where. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But interested that Heyman mentioned Lashley would be his opponent, but if not, then he would find someone for him.
But obviously, they're not telling us that.
Yeah,
he's injured,
they're keeping Lashley involved, kind of in the storyline here. Even though we know it's not going to be him, but any ideas on who it might be? Who's going to lose to Lesnar before Mania? Because they're not going to win.
Maybe one of the Usos? I don't know.
If it's a non-televised show, it could be anybody, really.
Yeah, it could be an Uso.
If it's at Madison Square Garden,
I feel like it'd be big.
It's going to be a decent. I mean, I said to you, Keeney, the other day, they could even put Cody here, but why would they if it's not on TV? So. No.
Cody,
and they'd have to have him lose.
Why would you put him in getting squashed?
And also,
it's not going to be him.
So with Cody, if one or two things happen, well, either you get him in to win and beat Brock Lesnar, which is mad. But even if he loses, it's how we lose this, because Brock Lesnar has just squashed Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Riddle, and they've made 3 of their top guys just like that. So if Cody comes in and has a good match with Lesnar, all of a sudden Cody looks stronger than Seth and all those, and I don't know if they want him to be that strong. So I think it's always lose if you put Cody in this spot.
I don't think it will be him. I'm just sort of thinking who else is there that Brock hasn't faced to make it a big show.
I think Canuso.
And also would make sense because obviously it builds up then to Roman, at Mania. But I don't know. They might bring in a legend, or they might.
Let's get Braun Breaker up for this one. Have Braun Breaker go at him.
Then he'd win it.
Talking of Braun Breaker, that kind of segues onto the last part.
The only thing I had written down for the show was the most random tag team I've ever seen. I think.
I was going to talk about Raw still. What, are you on about Raw here still?
Raw, yeah. Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, okay. That's not what I was thinking. There's far more random tag teams in the NXT Women's division, but we'll talk about them in a minute.
Yeah.
Bloody hell! Some of them were. I don't know where they got these.
This is one where they don't want to bring Braun Breaker up yet because he's still quite green on NXT, and they needed a tag team partner for Ciampa to face Rude and Ziggler, and they almost plucked. But I mean, there is NXT link, like a quite fairly tedious one,
wasn't he? So.
Yeah, but yeah, just a weird team
I thought it was a really cool team.
I liked it, and I do like how Ciampa got his promo before the match and Balor come over. I quite liked that. Like, rather than just giving it to us cold, they did kind of give us something before it to kind of build it up a bit.
And Ciampa got the win in the match, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I can't remember unless you guys know how he got his reaction from the crowd, but it'd be interesting to see if he got a good reaction or if people weren't that sure of who he was.
It wasn't like dead silence, but it wasn't a big pop or anything.
Yeah, because obviously he's bigger than Waller, but Waller got no reaction when he appeared a few times.
No. I remember I felt a bit bad for him because I remember I did write down because Ciampa started the match and you could hear it sounded like the kids in the crowd chanting "We want Balor," and I was like, "Oh, come on. It's Tommaso Ciampa in the ring, man. It's not some random guy." Like
NXT's viewers are small though compared to
I understand roster. It's just a shame. It's just a shame when that kind of stuff happens because it's Tommaso Ciampa, for crying out loud.
Not everyone's a mark like us.
No,
we are.
And like I say, it sounded like children. It wasn't. You could tell it was a younger audience.
Go Balor!
They wanted Balor in there because they recognised Balor, but they didn't know who Ciampa was.
We can segue from Raw to NXT if we're done with Raw.
I just got to mention one thing. Someone I don't think I've ever mentioned really.
Ooh.
Not often anyway. I thought, going to the Street Profits vs Alpha Academy match, I thought Dawkins looked banging in this match. I think he's completely changed. He was flying all over the place.
He did the jump over the top rope, didn't he? Which is usually Montez Ford's spot, which was weird.
He did like an awesome hot tag. It's like he said, "Let me sort of show off a bit here."
He's done a few of those recently. I
think he's realised that he needs to step his game up, or
because Montez Ford was like overpowering.
I think Dawkins is really good. I just don't think he gets shown.
I think he looked awesome. I was really surprised. I was like, "Wow, here he is!" And then, as usual, Gable looks amazing. There was one spot that I loved where Montez dived over the ropes and he turned it into a German suplex. It was so smooth. It just looks so slick. I absolutely love Gable at the moment. He's just incredible.
He's on the run of his life. Run of his life.
And I hope it carries on even into a singles. He would be an awesome underdog for a main title.
Yeah.
He's Kurt Angle, isn't he? He is basically Kurt Angle. So
he should definitely get a mid-card title run at least at some point.
Well, you know how good he is singles. I don't know. Again, I think I mentioned this before, but you remember his match with Corbin for the King of the Ring a few years back. Yeah, it was an amazing match. And in that King of the Ring tournament, Gable was incredible. He got a weird push as a singles.
Because that was what led to Shorty G.
And then he turned into Shorty G and they ruined him. But
just keep him as Gable.
Yeah, his character right now is great. He's a really good heel as well. Really,
I think Vince started liking him when he realised because he got that degree or whatever it is, and he keeps talking about it. Since he's got that, I think Vince is like, oh my god, he's
because he's got a thing. Yeah, he's an
Olympian.
I didn't realise that was real. I thought he was just saying it.
No, it is real. It happened recently. That's what I'm saying. I think Vince was like
4.0.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever GDB.
when Vince finds something like that out,
he's amazing, isn't he?
He latches onto it, and I think that's helped it. I actually think that's helped him. Give him more of a character. And, we'll play that into your character. I think it's helped Chad Gable a lot having that there. Yeah, it is a real thing.
Let's see Chad Gable versus Brock Lesnar next year at Mania.
Maybe that's what they'll do at Madison Square Gardens. Maybe, who knows? All right, let's move on to NXT now. And we'll start with Tommaso Ciampa, as we mentioned him on Raw. He was in the main event against Dolph Ziggler, which I had down as a number one contender match, but I don't know whether it officially was, but I think it was kind of.
It's implied on commentary.
Yeah, implied, that's the word. And Ziggler got the win thanks to the cameraman who...
Yes, this was my top mark of the week,
great.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, go for it, Fisher, go.
Well, it's Dolph Ziggler, and I'm just happy to see him doing something because I do love Dolph, and on Raw he has good matches a lot, but he's never involved in anything important. He doesn't get much of a reaction these days. So for him to come down NXT and feel so important, I love it. And they had a really good match here, Ziggler and Ciampa, as I'd expect, to be honest, with these two in the ring. They didn't do as much against each other in the Raw match, but here they really went for it. And I loved the match. I loved the finish. I know it's obvious it's Robert Roode. I mean,
but how often do you get that cameraman spot? I can't believe. I'm sure it has happened before. That's the fact.
Oh yeah,
but I can't remember last time it happened.
I think AEW did one not that long ago.
It's just a cool. Again, they could always have Bobby Roode interfered any other way, and normally it's the same interference type.
Yeah,
but this was a nice spin on the interference to win.
And obviously, it protects Ciampa in the sense of he didn't lose clean, and it gives Ziggler a big win, which can make him go for Braun Breaker, which is the whole point of this. And I'm just excited. The match was really good, but I'm excited about where it's leading as well, because obviously next week they challenged them to a tag team match. There's a big brawl.
I hope we get a full glorious entrance.
That would be great. You might in NXT.
School.
Oh, I miss full
glorious.
Well, yeah, because they're doing Ziggler's old entrance, or his solo entrance, so maybe. But they'll probably just do the Dirty Dogs entrance.
I hope not. I want full
I love Glorious.
Glorious.
Yeah, and I love Ziggler's solo one as well, but I don't like their tag team one.
If we get it, it will be absolutely
glorious.
I miss doing that now. Let's bring it back.
Bring it back.
It got Robert Roode over, didn't it? So yeah, it would be great. And it was his NXT stuff, and it is an NXT, so who knows? But it's just even Robert Roode, like it's cool to see him in a big spot, in a big match. Like, feels important.
They can do stuff. They just need to have better storylines with them, don't they? Rather than just I come out, say a few insults, and that's it in a match.
So I like where it's leading next week. And in terms of long term, well, not long term, but beyond that, I think I said it already, but I think maybe we're going to get Ziggler v Breaker at the Takeover Standard. No, it's called. Oh, sorry, not Takeover. It's not called that anymore. Yeah. Stand and Deliver, which is on the same day as WrestleMania, and I think that's a great idea because I don't want to see Dolph Ziggler in the Battle Royal hanging onto the ropes for 15 minutes. I want to see him in a match.
I think that could be banging.
And
I love how they're bringing these guys down to have big matches.
I think it's really
stars. Good. They want to go.
Best use to them. If they're not going to be on TV, bring them down. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, but I'd love to see like an Ali come down for a bit because he would be a big deal. I know he's done with WWE, just gonna.
And like you said, it's not just bringing them down; it's also bringing the other people up. Ciampa's been
That's
on Raw.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we had Waller before, now Ciampa. Yeah,
so it helps them get an introduction to the main roster before they're called up, if they're going to be. I don't think Waller is going to be, but Ciampa certainly should.
Well, the thing is, I think it's interesting who they're picking to go up. I think it means something. I think Waller meant something coming up. I think Ciampa means something. Maybe they'll do something with Pete Dunne next. Who knows what they'll do next? But I believe that. Again, I think they're testing the water, and maybe Waller's lack of reaction meant they might not call him up.
Well, he didn't get a match or anything.
Waller's too fresh. I think they're just trying to get people to notice him, who will then maybe follow him back.
I think Ciampa one was like, have a match, see how it goes. Like he's been having dark matches. He's been on main event.
Well, we forget Ciampa was here, 3-4 years ago with Gargano?
Yeah.
He was.
They said it.
And if
it was
he
funny
didn't get
because they
injured,
said it was his first match on Raw, and I was like, no, it's not.
I honestly think if he hadn't got injured, he'd have been on the main roster for a long time by now.
Yeah,
he'd probably be in AEW right now, wouldn't he?
He said he didn't want to be on the main roster originally, but I think he said in an interview a couple of years ago, he didn't ever want to get called up to Raw or SmackDown because of the schedule and the travel and everything is very hectic.
Oh, okay.
But since the pandemic, that's changed. They don't do house shows anymore. They don't really do a lot. You're not on the road every day. They literally do Raw or SmackDown, and then occasionally they do a house show, which is the same as NXT. So I think the schedule suits. I mean, even
NXT is all in Orlando, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't have to travel at all there. But I mean, I think he was happy to do. It's just not working. Before it was do a show, fly to the next stage, don't do a show. It is a hectic schedule, the WWE schedule, which is why it doesn't suit everybody, and why a lot of wrestlers, the older ones, go part-time. But I think now the schedule suits him. The money will suit him more than being in NXT, and he's got nothing left to do. So for me, it makes sense for him to get called up now. And if Gargano ever comes back to WWE, I hope he comes onto the main roster as well. I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
100% agree.
If he might go to AEW, I don't know, but and they're signing everybody.
Who knows? Yeah. So also on the show we had Grayson Waller and LA Knight have their match.
I thought this was an amazing match.
Yeah, really good match. Love both of these guys, but go ahead, Krusty.
So good, aren't they? Yeah, I love them. I mean, you've got like super heel Waller, and LA Knight is really being put over so well now as a face. Crowd, I know we spoke about the crowd a few times now. They love him, absolutely love him.
They do, and he was like a massive heel, wasn't he? LA Knight. I thought he was like an amazing heel. I think he's maybe even better face than LA Knight. I think he's
so
brilliant.
talented, isn't he? I absolutely love him. And although Waller gets the win by rolling him up by the tights, which is I don't mind that because it suits
Grayson
Waller
Waller's character
so much. But then Knight comes out strong by beating up Sanga and Waller. So I think this is continuing, isn't it?
I think we'll get a stipulation match if he needs to on Stand and Deliver.
Interestingly, did you hear what he was saying when he went to? I'm sure it was this match. He was as he was walking up the ramp. He goes, "Yeah." He mounts the camera like, "Oh, they may have won, but I was the last man standing." And I was thinking,
yes, I did catch that. Yeah, so that's the match they'll have. Yeah,
that's what
good idea.
Yeah, I did catch that. Yep, I did.
Do a last
man
man standing match.
But yeah,
that's what's going to happen. I reckon.
Let's go for that one. Well,
that'd be great.
Fish.
Yeah,
I just caught that and I thought it as soon as he said it.
Yeah, that would be again. That's the sort of stipulation you want to see because again,
LA Knight big win.
I think the feud kind of has earned it. It's been long standing. There's been a lot of beatdowns from both parties. I think maybe
it's been going on quite a while, wasn't it?
Last man standing is the way to go. What else do we have on the show? We had
Io
some Dusty
Shirai,
Cup.
KLR, progressing, didn't they?
Yeah, so we had 2 matches, didn't we, in the Dusty Cup?
Yeah. So who did they beat?
Io Shirai and KLR beat Lash Legend and Amari Miller.
I was going to say I had no idea.
Finally, Lash Legend's first match on NXT.
She looked a bit green, I thought, but I like Amari Miller. I do think she's quite good when she gets.
She is good, actually. Yeah, I do like.
I've seen her a couple of times. I think she's got potential, but it was obvious who was. My problem with a lot of these matches in this women's one is who's winning before the match even begins.
I didn't think the next one was as obvious. So we had Ivy Nile and a partner. I don't know what name.
Tatum something.
It was
Cantanzaro and Carter. I honestly thought you were going to have
Paxley.
Ivy Nile basically take this on her own shoulders and beat the living hell out of.
This is one of those. Ivy Nile's clearly the strongest person, but there's only one tag team in this match, Casey and Caden. And I think it's probably right they won.
Yeah, and to be honest, I liked the angle afterwards because Ivy Nile was
just destroyed her.
Who is this girl? Just to beat her up. So I didn't mind it because of that. If it would have been a bit of a shame if Ivy Nile lost and that was it. But with what happened, I don't.
Yeah, she is very good.
But this is what I meant when I said about the NXT Women's Tag Division, because we've never even seen Tatum Paxley before. And suddenly she's in a tag team with Ivy Nile.
I thought she looked all right, though.
Lash Legend and Amari Miller apparently have been feuding on what was 205 Live, now is called NXT Level Up. They've changed the name.
Yeah, well, they've got, you got Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu. That's
another odd couple tag team. So
I quite like that storyline.
It is interesting. It's interesting, those two.
At least they've played up on that and why they're tagging.
It's just two weird people together. I like it. Just weird characters. It's what NXT.
I love Wendy. I think Wendy Chu's
Dusty
great.
Cups.
So
and I love Dakota Kai. So Recharge Wrestling, love that tag team.
Well, speaking of love, did you love Nikita Lyons' debut on the show?
I did.
I thought she looked really good here.
This was so athletic. So powerful.
Right.
Yeah, a new powerhouse in the women's. I think that's a big thing. She's
a good addition.
Something a bit. I know Persia Pirotta is also a bit of a powerhouse, but she had something.
And Raquel Gonzalez.
Her striking as well was so impressive. I did not expect the kicks and things like that she was doing.
And just the persona she had in the ring, like the way she pinned her opponent and everything she did, kind of was just like, this is a bit different.
I'm going to pin you like that.
Again, jumping ahead, I reckon you could have a really cool Nikita Lyons Raquel Gonzalez match. I reckon that could be really cool. down the line.
I can
way
see
down the
her
line.
being champion within the next year.
Big call from Krusty there on trying to get
Honestly,
some prediction
I can.
points.
I think she's got like, I don't know how you can make someone like that lose. She could strike. She's strong. She's athletic. It's like and she's big. So it's everything, isn't it? Honestly, don't know who you could have beat her apart from maybe Raquel.
Yeah.
Although we'll probably get Cora Jade roll her up next week, something like that. So
probably.
Hopefully,
segueing on actually there. Well, I am actually really starting to enjoy their random promos. Them just going on zip wires.
Yeah, that was fun actually. I quite liked how making Raquel face her fears. I quite enjoyed that.
I've said it before, but I always like promos when they're outside of wrestling context. So I kind of enjoy the stuff.
I might move on to one that wasn't so good. It was Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs doing their dating video.
I was going to ignore this, but
so was I until you just mentioned outside of the ring promos. This one was.
I've not enjoyed this story at all.
God knows what to do.
The only bit of this I liked was it Fallon Henley? Her name?
No idea.
The lady.
I did not know who that was who came in at the end. I didn't recognize her.
It's Fallon Henley. I'm pretty sure. Okay. She was the barmaid. She was behind the bar last week, and she.
How do you know her name though?
She's wrestled on NXT before.
Oh, she? Oh, okay.
Yeah, only like once. She's been a jobber basically. But
I just thought you knew barmaids in NXT.
No, I'm sure her name's Fallon something, and she came in at the end and was basically like, you don't have to do all this. You have to just take the picture, and then I like that bit. That bit was okay, but the rest of it was just cringy, really cringy.
Yeah, and there's a few kind of dating. We had Duke Hudson kissing Persia Pirotta.
Well, we say it all the time. NXT is just like the horny show. Like everyone, it's
just a few of these angles. And when you then but on Raw as well, we've got Reggie and Dana Brooke. Just a lot of these at the moment, which feel like yesteryear's sort of storylines. There's a few of them coming back.
NXT has got a lot.
The ratings used to be insane back then, so maybe that's why.
Let's just get some love angles going.
I mean,
and I actually quite like.
I
quite like the Duke Hudson Persia Pirotta. By the way, I quite like that.
I like the fact that Indy Hartwell's history plays into.
Yeah, now it's going to be Dexter Lumis and I think we're going to
Did
get.
they date in real life? Is that what this was?
I don't know if about real life.
I don't know if they have.
They're both Australian, aren't they? So I think
they obviously know each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually did date in real life, but that's what they're implying.
Yeah. So what I think happens, my prediction is we're going to see the split up of Persia and Indy, and we're going to get a mixed tag match, and maybe lead to a one-on-one. They're going to do versions of this. Duke Hudson v Dexter Lumis. So I'm actually fine with that because I
they
don't
in the
mind.
Dusty Cup?
They are. Maybe they lose.
Because who are they facing? Do you know? Is it Cora? If it's Cora and Raquel, that's a great opportunity.
I think they separated all of the established teams. Cora and Raquel, I think, are facing Elisa Leon and Valentina Feroz.
Yeah. Who's the other team?
The other team that's left over. When did you Dakota Kai? Maybe they lose to them then.
Yeah, they might lose to them. They could.
Indy and Persia lose to them because of Duke and.
Yeah. I can see that happening. Definitely.
Okay, we've just sorted out the brackets for you and the Dusty Cup.
I mean, like I say, a couple of the matches that's probably the most unpredictable one so far. That match, because there's 4 people in there that we actually see on TV and actually win matches sometimes. So.
Yeah, the only thing I had written down, and I'll pass over to you guys if you had anything else. We had Solo Sikoa challenge Gunther.
I thought this was odd.
A match next week.
I thought it was cool, but what I didn't like about it, in a way, and it makes Solo Sikoa look good, so that's good. But literally, he super kicked Gunther, sorry.
Gunther.
And he was down.
Gunther, it's pronounced Gunther.
He was down for he was out.
Yeah.
In a match, if you kick Gunther, he literally gets up and chops you, and you're going to die basically.
Yeah, but he wasn't expecting it, was he? Because it was.
I just think maybe they made him look a bit weaker than they should have done here.
I mean, Gunther's going to beat Solo Sikoa. It's just interesting to see how much Solo Sikoa gets in, and if it's what kind of match it is.
I loved
it won't be a squash.
As usual in these kind of segments. I love Malcolm Bivens. He was great in the corner. Look, because it wasn't really initially about them, was it?
It was
the Creed brothers.
It's funny how he said to him, "You got the juice now, oos."
Yeah,
so they're not hiding this at all, are they?
Called him oos. Yeah, it's interesting.
I said that really weird.
Yeah,
you got the juice now.
You've got the juice now, oos.
You got the juice, oos. There we go. Yeah, they're not hiding the fact that.
But I love the fact that Imperium and Creed brothers brawl, which leaves Bivens and Gunther. And then Bivens was like shitting himself, and he was in the corner. And then
no, Roddy Strong.
He was in the corner of the tag match, wasn't he, with Ivan?
He was just looking on.
He was. He was
the one telling her to do it, which I thought was interesting, by the way. Going back to that.
Yeah. That was a good point. Anything else from NXT from you guys?
No.
That's all my notes from NXT.
I'm just having a look.
Don't look too hard.
Oh, there was obviously there was the stuff between Pete Dunne and Carmelo Hayes and Cameron Grimes getting back into it, which I thought was it was over, but it looks like we're getting. It looks like we're getting. Are we getting a tag match between them? Next week, or?
I think so. Yeah. Just on that, I thought it was a really good match. I thought this was the best I've seen Trick look in ring.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought it was really good there. Really good in a singles match here with Cameron. And Cameron Grimes always impressive. He's always looking good.
I thought that was just worth a quick mention because I think when we get done Carmelo, that's going to be great. Which I'm assuming is the match we're going to get probably at the takeover.
Madness.
Yep, he's going to stand and deliver and go to the moon. Dynamite time, and I'll kick off with
Rampage first.
That's the Rampage first, right? For sure. So Rampage, if I keep my voice, Jay White debuted.
Oh, sorry.
We'll go to Hobbs in a second because we can segue up from Hobbs.
I love a bit of Hobbs.
Yes, save Hobbs to the end of Rampage because it can segue onto something else I want to talk about.
We're pros now. We're pros.
We are
20 episodes in. We're pros. But Jay White debuted. Again, I've not seen him wrestle before. I was pretty impressed with him here. I thought he looked pretty good. And I just want to say, Trent always looks.
Wow.
Since he's come back from his injury, he just looks incredible in ring. I don't know if it's just me, but I think he looks great.
He's been used a lot as well.
He has.
They've used him in a lot of big matches. Is this the second week in a row, or was it the one before? But he's had
he had
matches.
the tag match with Rocky Romero last week against the Bucks. I think that was last week's Rampage or the week before. Yeah,
he went quite far in the tag battle royal as well, which we'll get to.
So I just think he looks incredible.
It's not just you; he's come back a different guy.
He looks. I think his look helps as well.
Yeah,
he's shaved his head.
And he just looks bigger. He looks a bit musclier. He's kind of bulked out a bit. I just think he looked great. And this was a Jay White, to see him. But I come away from that thinking Trent looked great. But Jay White was also good. Yeah,
Trent did get a lot of offense in the match. And I did notice that he kind of he hit the Blade Runner kind of out of nowhere to win it. So it was kind of like he took him to his limit, which was quite cool. But yeah, Jay White is good. He's definitely good. I don't know.
The Blade Runner's sister Abigail, isn't it?
Is it Sister Abigail?
It's like similar,
and the Reckoning as well. It's like
it's
very
like
similar,
that,
isn't it? It's an awesome move. I love it.
I quite like a Switchblade as a nickname. I think that's quite a cool nickname.
That is cool.
Switchblade man.
Switchblade man.
And he had a stare down, obviously, after as well with Orange Cassidy. So I'm guessing we're probably going to get that at some point.
Dun dun dun.
Maybe they'll draw it out to Revolution and we'll have a match. I don't.
Maybe. I mean, Cassidy has got a qualifier on Rampage tomorrow night.
Oh, has he?
For the ladder match against Anthony Bowens of the Acclaimed, which you'd think he'd win.
Yeah, he probably will actually.
He'll probably be. But maybe Jay White gets in the match. Maybe Jay White gets in the ladder match as well. Who knows?
You never know.
Depends on how long he's sick around for. But someone who we know is in the match.
Yes, good segue.
Is Powerhouse
Hobbs. I love Hobbs. I think he's awesome.
This is cool. Now. But at this point, the ladder match, we have Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs.
I know, this is my favourite type of match ever.
This is
Just
last
the
week.
biggest
Dream.
guys you
Last
could
week, I
have.
remember we were talking about this match, and you said, "Oh, I think Dante's got to win
Yeah, he
because
has
there's
to
so many
win,
big men in there." And then
Here we go.
I
Another
kind of,
big man.
These ladders are going to get destroyed. It's just going to be broken.
It's going to be fun.
I want to see Marco Stunt go in this match now, just for a laugh.
I don't think he's with Stumpy anymore. I think he's
No, I
left.
know. I know. No, I don't really want to see
He's
that.
just going to be running away, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, Danhausen.
Hands in his
maybe.
pockets, dodging them all. I can see it now. He's just going to be dodging in and out of all three of them with his hands in his pockets.
And I reckon they're going to get Keith Lee to do some athletic spot because he's quite athletic, isn't he? They're going to get into like some sort of somersault off a ladder, through a ladder, through Hobbs and Wardlow. It's going to be some mad stuff. It's going to be great. I can't wait for it, actually. Can't wait.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, if we think back to the matches he used to have with Dodjakovic, you could easily have Hobbs or Wardlow sort of fill one of those spots.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing Wardlow against someone big, just to see how powerful.
I just want to see a big, Ward. Well, we've seen a couple of Wardlow Hobbs stare-offs in Battle Royals. I think we've seen it a couple of times. But I want to see a Wardlow Keith Lee stare-off. That's what I want to see. And them two go at each other because I reckon Wardlow's probably the more athletic out of Wardlow and Hobbs. I mean, they're all athletic, aren't they? They're all pretty impressive guys.
Well, Keith Lee's a different level.
He is.
Keith
Yeah,
Lee's
he
insane.
He's insane in terms of that.
He is. And he's not really been, again, he had a small promo and he didn't even say much in his promo on the show. So he, they kind of kept him back a bit, haven't they, since his debut, which is interesting. I wonder if they're going to just keep him back until the pay-per-view and just unleash him.
I reckon they'll have him have like.
I think that would be a good idea.
I'd like to see him
go,
have,
let him loose in that ladder match. I'd say he's limitless.
He is limitless.
He is. And just talking about the actual match itself between Hobbs and Dante Martin, there's a real clash of styles, and I thought it worked really well. Dante Martin was flying and spinning around all being like, it was like a madman.
I think this is one of the rare examples of AW repeating a match. I think we've seen this before, haven't we? Dante and Hobbs.
We have.
I'm sure we have.
He must have done, because Dante had that bit where he nearly joined Team Taz.
Yeah, I'm sure Dante Martin's beat Hobbs before.
I think he won last time. I like the way this ended with a huge spine buster as well. That's rare to have something like that, but it looks massive. And it's quite realistic because Dante's so small. Someone being slammed like that into a mat would finish him off. I just thought it was cool. I was actually quite shocked, but I was like, awesome. And then we got our big, three big, massive guys in the ladder match, which I love.
Then we got the fourth man.
Yep.
Which was very interesting. That's the segue onto Dynamite.
Link onto Dynamite, yeah. Ricky Starks is
that makes it very interesting.
The Hobbs partner, beating 10. God, my voice again. 10 of the Dark Order. Which again is cool to have.
He's been used a couple of times as well. Recently.
Yeah, he's had a good.
He had a match with Cole on Rampage.
10.
Actually, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
He beat up some security last week. He's looked good recently.
Yeah, he's had a weird little push, hasn't he? 10. But Starks looks great as always, and nice to see him again. We talked before about all these kind of middle of the card guys being kind of pushed to the side a little bit, and Starks is another one who's done more commentary than wrestling in the last few months. But
absolutely,
good to see him beat 10 and qualify for the ladder match. And again, he's another one. He'll take some bumps for some Keith Lees and Wardlows of this world.
I just think the dynamic's going to be interesting with him and Hobbs. Are they going to team the whole match? Is there going to be a moment where they go for each other? Is it going to lead to a split?
It could do.
It could go any way, couldn't it?
I would like to see these split and then have Hook face
Starks.
That could be an incredible match.
And win the FTW title.
Yeah.
And then win all the belts.
Why not? I mean,
can we just have
title?
Can we have Hook qualify for the ladder match, please?
Have
him with the FTW title would be great. We couldn't go a show without mentioning Hook.
I know he did it this week. I just love him. I wouldn't mind seeing Sean Spears qualify for the ladder match, by the way. So I think that could be interesting with Spears and Wardlow in there.
Yeah.
So I think that
would be a good way of having Spears get wrecked by Wardlow.
Well, again, he's another one we haven't seen wrestle much, have we, Sean Spears? It'd be nice to see him wrestle. So I want to move on to my top mark of the week. I don't have a skid mark this week. It's just all positive from me this week. we mentioned earlier the debut of Buddy Matthews, but actually I was in top mark territory before Buddy Matthews even arrived, because I just love the House of Black. I think they are brilliant. I'm really impressed with Brody King. Yeah. Again, someone I didn't know before he joined AEW. I think he looks great. The perfect partner for Black.
I loved his after match segment.
Yeah, they actually lost the match, didn't they? They lost to Penta and Pac. Yeah, I think so.
Yes, because he got the mist.
Yeah, he went to do the mist and he choked on the mist.
I wasn't overly keen on the finish, but the after angle.
I think it's a good.
Do you know what though? Yeah,
I like
we see so many of these mist in the face spots, and you think all you've got to do is cover his mouth, and he can't. So I think
it's clever.
Yeah,
and they also said that he brings it. It's not like magic mist, which he comes from his saliva or something.
Yeah.
So I think that was really cool.
Yeah,
but I love the after the match
because they obliterated him. And Brody King, I just loved the bit where he's running up the ramp, just smashing the hell out of every security.
Yeah,
guard.
that was amazing. That was amazing.
I like the way they run in single file towards him. Though.
Yeah, they always go one by one. Always. Why would you go 5-on-1? And then we got the obligatory lights out, which they overdo, but whatever. And Buddy Matthews comes out. Yeah, Buddy Matthews, I just said that right. He comes out, and again, we thought he was going to go against Black, but then just destroyed Pac and Penta. And I wonder when Ray Phoenix is back, because that could be some 6-man tag.
That was my thought. He was going to come out. I thought he might come out at the end here. He didn't.
Yeah, that would be some.
That'd be a good Revolution match, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if Phoenix is back for Revolution, and they're building that now. They've only got a week to go, so
Buddy Matthews and Alistair Black, Malachi Black together is so cool. I think because their history, obviously they mentioned their history in that, obviously didn't say history in WWE, but they mentioned that they have history. And obviously, Malachi Black and Buddy Murphy had amazing matches on Raw, against each other.
SmackDown, I think.
That fuse. Yeah, whichever. I don't know.
But horses for courses.
Yeah, they're great matches, but feuded against each other. They just sort of teamed them up here. But I'm glad they did the tease first of Buddy going against Malachi. It's kind of like the Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole thing, where obviously they feuded in WWE, brought them back, and now teaming them together. At least they've sort of made reference on both of them about their history.
Yeah, that is good. And I think Krusty mentioned last week or week before, whenever Keith Lee debuted, that Keith Lee's just brought his gear from WWE. I think Buddy Murphy sounds exactly the same. They're both wearing the exact same gear as it did in WWE.
He looks exactly the same, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly the same.
He looks like he's blown up a bit, though. He's been beefcaking.
Yeah, well, do you remember when they tried to claim he was under 205 pounds?
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy's never been under 205, surely. He's always been massive. But yeah, it'd be cool to see him again. He's probably the perfect AW signing because he's so good in ring and exactly the type of wrestler they kind of showcase on the show. So
and I think he's someone you're not going to necessarily push to the main event. He'll probably be happy in like a mid card, but doing interesting stories on TV, wrestling every week, having good matches.
So House of Black are great. They don't need to be anywhere near title belts. House of Black, keep them far away from them all.
I wouldn't mind Malachi having it at some point.
Well, it's interesting.
Maybe not in this
interesting they kept them out of the tag team battle royal, which we can segue.
Yeah.
But they kept out of the battle royal, which is interesting. I mean, what did you guys make of the battle royal?
I quite enjoyed it actually.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. It was good. It was fine.
I don't know. Do WWE do tag team battle royals? And if they do, is it?
They do it differently.
One member's eliminated. They're both eliminated. So this is a better way of doing it.
I think it's a better way of doing it. Because why would you?
I just want to say, Butcher.
Yeah, he had a little run, didn't he?
I was loving that. He was beating everyone up.
Yeah, that was good. I agree. I totally agree with you, Keenan, because I hate it when they've done them on. I remember them doing them on Raw, not like maybe a year or so back. And
I couldn't remember.
One member of the team gets eliminated, and the other one just has to leave, goes over the top right, just walks out. It's so stupid. Why can't you just fight for the right team? And what I liked about this is they really played into that because the last 6 were all individual members of one team.
Yeah.
In this match.
And I think the big point of this really was the end angle, wasn't it? I mean, you had O'Reilly sneakily throw out one of the Bucks.
That was such a good finish because
they
were teaming.
really clever.
O'Reilly fakes an injury in order to get Matt Jackson to beat up John Silver and eliminate him. And he sneaked up behind him and eliminated him.
Yeah, he had a run, didn't he?
He was
so good.
He was probably the MVP of the match, to be honest.
Yeah,
they're big on him at the
really
moment,
good.
aren't they? And he's good. He's so athletic, so strong. I really like him. But obviously the end angle was Red Dragon and the Bucks falling out. Are we going to get this as soon as Revolution, or do you think we're going to go further than that?
Well, I'm not sure because I'm really torn. I don't know what's good. I got a feeling they might cost. Oh, I don't know, because I think you could just have the Bucks in that three-way tag easy.
I think that's probably is going to be what happens.
But I really think Santana and Ortiz kind of have to qualify.
Santana was great in this match as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
After their whole thing with Jericho, if they do that and then don't get a tag team title match straight after, it seems a bit weird. So for me,
that is a good point.
I would have Santana and Ortiz qualified. I'd have Red Dragon cost the Bucks next week, and then that's leads to, and then maybe the Bucks cost Red Dragon at the pay-per-view, and then that's the match that's a feud we carry on with going forward, maybe. No,
I
don't know.
I think that's a very good point about Santana and Ortiz, and I hadn't even thought about that, but it's a very good point, I think.
Because in my mind, watching this match, I thought there's 3 teams that could win, and one of them wasn't FTR, unfortunately, who were in there and lasted. Dax lasted quite far. But I thought really it's Red Dragon, Bucks, or Santana and Ortiz. I don't think
they have to do something now.
Win this,
really?
yeah. But yeah, and we kind of just moved on briefly. We had Cole and Paige have a little face to face.
Yeah.
On this show
so
as well.
That was after the Battle Royal, wasn't there?
It was straight after. Yeah.
He's so cool when he comes out. He like kind of fast walks. He's just awesome. I just wish they'd have him wrestling a little bit more than they did. He's gone from being the workhorse who's in ring every week to one match every couple of months. I think it's just a little bit too spread out. But I just want him to wrestle more because I love watching him. He's so cool, isn't he? We love him.
Yeah, he is. And again, I know this has had a short build, but I'm looking forward to the match at Revolution. I really think Paige is going to win, though. I just don't see Cole winning the belt.
Too short to have Adam Cole win, isn't it?
Maybe
we have a dodgy win somehow.
Yeah, and I think Cole's got plenty to do without the belt. I think he's in the middle of a tag team feud right now. There's
the stories with Kenny. When
Jay
Kenny
White showed up. He got Omega.
Really,
there's a lot that he could be doing. And
let's have Red Dragon and Adam Cole versus the Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
that would be one of the best matches.
I think that will definitely happen within the next 6 months. That match.
Let's do it in like a War Games cage.
Yeah,
what do they call it in AEW?
Stadium Stampede.
If this happens,
what's the Blood and Guts?
If that happens, I think match of the year's sewn up. Honestly, I can't see it not being.
Yeah.
There we go. Book it now.
Yeah, match of the year's already decided for this.
I don't know if we can stick anyone else in there. Whether you put Jay White in as well.
You could do.
But I don't know who else you'd pull in. But
Brandon Cutler.
Yeah.
No, that would bring it down a little bit. Yeah. No offense to Brandon Cutler, but
I must say I do watch him sometimes with that camera.
And he's
funny. Like proper into it, even like on people that aren't in his faction, and he's like getting in there. I do quite like him.
Yeah, he is funny.
He plays his role, but he has his purpose. But it's just you wouldn't put him in that match. He's just the only other guy I could think of.
What else was there? Well,
let's go to Krusty's top mark.
Let's go to top mark. Yeah.
So we have MJF come out, and wow, what a promo! I didn't think this guy could get any better. You could put him on. I was going to say EastEnders, but if you're not from the UK, you're not going to know. You're not going to know what I'm on about. But his acting is insane.
He's a bit better than Danny Dyer, mate.
But I say EastEnders is known for great acting, isn't it?
Well, all right.
But it's got some. Yeah, it's not that bad.
But okay.
But anyway,
sorry about that. Yeah, but I hadn't looked into this before that I'd watched, but I thought, is this real? Is there some truth to it? So we had MJF spit some massive, amazing promo, and then Punk comes out at the end, and he's almost. I thought they were going to hug. I honestly thought Punk was going to hug him because he was like, "Is this true?" And then MJF just walks out the ring, sort of still with tears in his eyes. he's basically saying that he's been bullied and all he wanted to be was a professional wrestler. And then Punk quitting just completely ruined everything for him, which really plays into this stuff with picture of him with CM Punk growing up. And it turns out that actually back in around 2015, I think it was, MJF had actually posted a status, an actual real social media status, saying that he was leaving a football like scholarship because he couldn't deal with school anymore. And he wanted to pursue his dream of professional wrestling, which, to be honest, is absolutely incredible. Where now we've got this story and he's working at the top of his game in AEW. And even before I knew that, this was my top mark because he was just insane. And I'm going to say it, this guy is the GOAT of promo in wrestling. He is absolutely amazing. And that's saying against like people like Punk. You know how much I think of Seth Rollins, but this guy he's the top. He's the top of it. Absolutely amazing.
And this was so different because it was almost like a babyface promo. And he's just like, we haven't had that. It made you feel sorry for him. Even Tony Schiavone was like, I feel for him. Like, and he made you believe it. And it was true. So obviously, you know, but I love promos that play into real life things anyway. But the way he did this, and I still think he's going to use this.
Oh, he's going to play it. This is the play.
Punk big time, which is going to be amazing. But yeah, this was an amazing promo. I've seen so much praise for this online as well. You weren't the only one that loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we do promo of the year at the end of the year, then this is the winner now. With 10 months.
The thing
spare,
is, though, do you remember a few weeks
could
back when we had Punk MJF's initial promos? Yeah. They're in it. I'd have to watch them back to back because they're just.
I think
mad.
The nature of this program, the promo, the content of it,
yeah,
was so not what I expected.
Yeah, I think he did really well when he was saying like, "You're the reason I want to be a wrestler." You know, I looked up to you. You were the guy.
Yeah.
And then you left, and then you became the reason I wanted to be a wrestler in spite of you. And I just loved like
he looked seething, didn't he?
Yeah,
it was so real. But I guess it is real. So
yeah, but like the way he's saying it is the way he looks, like the emotion, like he's like breaking a few words here and there. Just everything is just perfection. It is
the crowd was
real.
So confused because they started to boo him and I was like, we can't really boo this.
I thought Punk coming out and just simply said, is this true? Like that really added to it as well. I think a hug would have been too far, so I'm glad they didn't do that in a way.
I honestly thought I was like, he's going to hug him in a minute like a little boy, feel like it's okay,
and then low blow.
But maybe that will happen at Revolution and then MJF is going to low blow him or something weird like that.
I think the great thing about this is this feud started at the end of last year, because I remember we actually spoke about this on the end of year review when we were like, you know, this can't be in for feud of the year this year because it's only just started, but for next year I think it's a shoe-in. And again, you mentioned just a minute ago, Krusty, they kicked off with like a proper fire promo. Well, that's how they started it. And I think I even said, if you go back to an end of year review, how do they top that? That's like, it's going to be hard to keep this level of intensity. But the last 2 weeks, last week we had Punk sat in the ring with his box and he got his dog collar out and did a big promo. MJF had no response. He walked out, looked at him, walked off again. And this week, MJF has just done his own soliloquy promo and Punk's come out, not really said anything and then walked off. So they're not incredible. They're just, but like 2 weeks in a row now, they've just had, 5-10 minutes just talking.
What I like is just one of them. It's not back and forth jab. Like we get that, those promos in AEW all the time, and a lot of them are really good. Like we had the Eddie Kingston Jericho one, we'll get to late in a minute, but like that was good. But these were so different. Yeah, like this MJF F1 in particular was so different because it was just MJF talking, and we had, like you said, you had just CM Punk last week putting in a really powerful promo, and here this was unbelievable from MJF. Absolutely unbelievable. And I think I agree with Krusty. He probably is the number one guy. currently.
He
I know
is,
you
yeah,
said
he is.
the GOAT. Yeah, I think currently he probably is. I mean, there's other guys I think that could be as good as him, if they were if they were allowed to be. There's probably a few others that could match him, I think.
It's just the way
I think
he
Eddie Kingston
got
is up there.
across that emotional side.
Yeah,
That is not easy to do. That was insane. And like Keeney said about him breaking his voice and things like that, it was like an actor. It was so. I like the fact that you mentioned about practicing promotions in the mirror. And I was like, I believe that because the way he's doing it, he's actually doing one now. Madness.
Well, yeah,
and this is the perfect promo. Sorry, not promo. Sorry, the perfect feud. I love this feud. And I wasn't that convinced on Punk before he came because I was like, is he going to be overhyped? But I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah. I think when he joined, this was what we wanted to see. We wanted to see at some point Punk and MJF just go off on the mic at each other.
Yeah.
We didn't even care about in-ring. We were like, and again, I think if you listen back to our show when Punk debuted, we probably were saying him and MJF is what we want to see. And
Definitely.
We've got it, and it's delivered maybe even more than I thought it would. Because
I think it was when they had their first match, I think it was my match of the night on that show as well. Like the match was really good.
Yeah, probably.
We talked about the promos.
And this dog collar match will be brutal. They are notoriously brutal matches, blood everywhere. It's kind of what they do, and it's just going to be a brilliant match. Just can't wait. Just cannot wait for it. But we should move on, otherwise we could just sit here and talk about it.
It is. Well, it was a night
MJF.
of amazing promos. Fisher mentioned the Eddie Jericho one earlier.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, to have this as not the top promo of the night is just insane.
I think it was a very strong week for promos, but this show in particular was insane.
Amazing.
I think, we had the Edge one on Raw, the Miz one on Raw were good, and these were like unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jericho going heel.
He definitely seemed to play the heel here. He
100%.
He was coming across as like, I'm too good for you. I'm a main eventer, you're a jobber, sort of thing. That's what he was saying, wasn't he? But what I love about Kingston is so different because he almost doesn't. I don't know how to describe it. It almost doesn't cut promos. He just says what he's thinking. I feel like there's no work with Eddie Kingston ever. It's just this is how he is, and this is how he'd be if you spoke to him in the street. He's just so real, Eddie Kingston, and just can't wait. Cannot wait.
The line I loved from Eddie at Jericho was when he said, "This is a wrestling company, not an entertainment company. You should go down the block."
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved him. He was saying, I don't want to face the mimosa Chris Jericho that faced Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
I want to face
the first
AEW champion.
The W guy. He didn't mention WWE Jericho really. He mentioned WCW Jericho from like the 90s, but he was going through a list of when Jericho was on top, and he was like, I want to face that guy because he was like, if not, I'm just going to eat you alive. Which I thought was great. Kingston's amazing as well. He's down the top tier promo. Honestly, Jericho's one of the best.
Insane.
So
and I think Kingston should win this match because I think Jericho did say that you've not really won the big one yet. You always seem to lose in the big matches, Kingston, and he is right. Kingston never wins big matches, and I think
that's what I love about these promos as well. We said it with the Santana and Ortiz. Even though Jericho's kind of playing the heel, he's right in a lot of what he's saying.
Yeah,
and he was right with that.
Yeah,
and I he was really testing him. Like talking about his family and them all being failures as well, really pushing him. Like he wanted him to go for him, he didn't. And then Jericho as well. I liked it. The fact he was kind of like, if you do beat me, I'll shake your hand and be like, you are good. You're not a failure. But I think it's gonna be interesting. I don't think the match will be amazing personally, but the build-up's been great. So
I think it could be quite good if they go just blow for blow. If they try and do a wrestling clinic, which they won't, then I think it won't be the best wrestling match on the show.
It needs to be a fight, doesn't it?
Yeah, it needs to be a fight. That is exactly it. One thing that will be a fight Revolution is Danielson and Moxley.
Oh yes,
which basically got confirmed here after a really good main event. Danielson against Daniel Garcia. I've mentioned it before. I mentioned it again. Next time he wrestles, but Daniel Garcia is so good in ring.
Yeah,
and I actually think he would be a perfect like protege for Danielson.
Well,
I
he was
think
one of the
he'd be
guys they
great.
mentioned, wasn't he? He was one of the guys they
Yeah.
mentioned.
Well, I think as Danielson faced him because he faced Wheeler Yuta, didn't he, the other week, which is another one he mentioned at the time. So I think he's just going through them. But yeah, I thought this was a good match, and then basically them saying the matches at Revolution. And yeah, just can't wait to see these two.
Yeah, I love the way this. I mean, the match was good, but I didn't have that many notes from the match. But the way that 2.0 came in, beat Brian down, and then Mox comes out and makes the save. It's really cool. And then they just stared down, but Ryan was like, "I'm guessing we know what's going to happen here. We're going to have the match, and that match is going to be great,
and it's going to be brutal because they basically just the whole
thing
about these two. Yeah,
there's going to be ketchup everywhere.
There is going to be ketchup. We got the Danielson leg lock and like pose
flex. He is
the flex.
Stacked. I've said this to a few people. He is stacked at the moment, and I like that. It's like he's actually putting work in to look good. I think in WWE he lost that a bit, and it was noticeable.
Yeah,
but I
don't remember him being this muscly before. He wasn't.
He's put a lot of size on. But he's main eventing all the time. He needs to look good. And I think it helps his wrestling. I think he's great. His promos, and also it gives him this arrogant size, doesn't it? That was such a good I loved that finish to the match. I was like, you wanker, Brian.
I know.
He's just so cool. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Perfect opponent for Mox. Perfect.
I know. And this Revolution card, by the way, it's looking
insane.
right now. It's looking better than Mania. I think the Revolution card. It looks insane.
We don't really know what's going on at Mania yet. I don't think WWE.
Well, we've got Brock and Raven.
I think by the
Becky,
time
Bianca,
we get sort of Edge and
Charlotte
AJ
Ronda.
and these matches.
Yes,
Once
all those confirmed, probably.
I think we'll be right. All right, but right now, yes, right now.
But like right now, Paige and Cole was like the fourth match I'm looking forward to, which is mad when you consider Punk, MJF, these two, Mox and Danielson. Yeah, and that ladder match we just mentioned, how great that's going to be. There's just so, and the triple threat tag match will be great. We got Baker and Thunder Rosa, which last time they fought was like a classic.
Yeah.
So the card is insanely stacked, and there was another match added to it, but I think it's your skid mark fish, which we can move on to now.
We're going to finish on a skid.
Well, there might be something else for
the match announced isn't a skid mark.
No,
but it leads on to it.
Yeah, it leads into it. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, there was nothing I really disliked that much this week. I didn't want to not have a skid mark, Keeney, because you didn't have one either, and I thought Krusty didn't actually have one specific match. It was a sort of a collection. But I didn't like what they did with Jade and the bunny here. It felt irrelevant. And actually, I noticed AEW crowds are hot for everything, and they were very quiet in this match. And I don't think it was to do with Jade, because they popped when Jade come out. Jade's a big draw, I think. And she's doing really, really well with that title. Probably even better than I thought she was going to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
But this match was enough. There wasn't a lot of effort put into the actual match itself. But what I didn't like about it was the booking around it with Smart Mark Sterling, Matt Hardy doing the delete stuff to him, just both of them getting involved. It felt more about them two on the outside than it did about Jade and Bunny, and I felt that took away from the match a little bit. So I was just a bit disappointed with it. I didn't think it wasn't horrendous. It was just.
Was there also a free count that the ref stopped? I'm sure we had 1-2 and the ref stopped.
What I think happened is Jade Cargill just forgot to kick out. And the ref couldn't count 3 because Jade this is for the title, and Jade has this unbeaten streak. It would ruin everything if she lost. So the ref had to just stop counting.
Yeah, it was a bit sloppy in there as well.
I think there was a boo from the crowd there as well.
It wasn't great. Matt tried to slide Knuckles in.
Knuckle dusters.
And then they clashed with the belt, didn't they?
And then a belt, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a cool spot, but it's just, again, it's too much interference, I thought.
Anything Matt Hardy does is rubbish at the moment. Let's bring in Jeff ASAP, please.
Jeff needs to save Matt's career.
He does.
Honestly, he does. But Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but on a show that was stacked with really good things, this stood out massively to me.
And it's a shame because it was a title match, the only title match on the show.
Yeah,
it's a shame that
and it's harsh because it's the women's match, but I felt like it's AEW again. It's not on the women. It's AEW again, not putting any effort into their women. Like they give them one match on the show. Sometimes they're 5 minutes or less. We're not on Rampage as well. Serena Deeb had her open challenge and it went like 20. It was like 30 seconds.
I mean, I was mentioning the matches for Revolution a minute ago, and we got nothing from Baker and Thunder Rosa here. I know they've got their contract signed in on Rampage, but with all of the promo time they gave everything else, I thought you'd give 5 minutes to Thunder and Baker.
Incredible promos.
Yeah, Baker's one of the top promos in the company. She's so good.
Yeah.
And they just a slight misstep. And again, maybe on Rampage they'll have a really good contract signing, and we'll talk about it next week as our top mark. Who knows? But just thought that was odd. It was left off from Dynamite this week as well. Yeah. But we did get set up off the back of that. Jade Cargill and Ty Conti for
which is
Revolution. We haven't seen Conti for a little while.
I loved Jade's reaction here, by the way, when she kissed her on the head.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, going face to face and just kissed her forehead.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, Jade cool. In general is such a good champion. I think you mentioned it a minute ago, Fish, but so good, Jade Cargill.
So believable.
The right choice of champion. I think she's we haven't seen Ruby Soho for a little while either.
She is someone, by the way, I would be stunned if WWE aren't looking at her like we want her.
Oh, Jade Cargill, yeah. She's right on Vince's street, isn't she? Yeah.
And they would try and poach. I can imagine, not necessarily saying she will definitely go or anything, but I would have thought she would be the one woman in AEW. They'll be like, right, let's get her. Because as much as like Britt Baker's great and all that, I don't necessarily think they'd be like desperate to get her.
No.
Whereas Jade, I can imagine they would. I can imagine Vince would see the money there in her.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
I'd be happy to see her wrestle anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
I can see it happening. Still very fresh as well.
I can see it happening in a few years. She'll build.
And isn't she quite young as well? Isn't she quite young, like early 20s?
Quite new to the wrestling business, so I think she can get better and better yet.
She is getting better, I think, as well. I think in general,
there's been a few things like the kick out, and there's been a few spots.
Yeah, I think it was a rough week, but I think her matches in general have been pretty good as champ, and she's defended it all the time. It's basically the TNT champ for women's, isn't it? They're just defending it all the time. So anything else?
Which suits her gimmick perfectly because she just goes on a massive undisputed split, picking up win after win after win, and she has loads of matches. And
they're not top tier, but they're credible. She's not facing jobbers. She's facing women on the roster.
Not often.
And she's wrestling a lot more than Britt is.
Yeah.
She's on telly a lot.
100%. Yeah.
I'm not bothered on Mark Sterling, though. They can get rid of him.
Yeah, I'm not massive.
She doesn't need him.
No, she doesn't.
But... No, I don't think she does, really. Not now. Maybe they thought that at the start, but I don't think she does now.
She's a credible winner and she's good at promo. So there's literally no point. You don't need someone interfering and things like that.
She's got it all. So was anything else from AEW TV? I'll ask for the third time.
I think that...
I don't believe so. I think we've gone through every single...
I think we've covered everything, I think.
Yeah, it was such a good show, so...
Yeah, and just before we wrap up, I want to say what a great week for wrestling. I had no skid mark this week, and nothing even come close. The only negative thing I had for the whole week was that bloody Brooks Jensen thing, but I don't care enough for that to be a skid mark. I just gloss over it. But in terms of wrestling, in terms of storylines, we're in Mania season. AEW's got a big pay-per-view on the horizon. We're in peak wrestling right now.
Yeah, I love this time of year. It's just
absolute peak wrestling.
WWE puts the foot on the accelerator and pulls the finger out of her ass and goes, right, let's go for this.
And we're getting the Cody stuff going, like we said last week. Outside of the ring, it's great as well. It's not just in the ring we're seeing it. So, what a time to be a wrestling fan, guys.
Yeah, I'm really excited for all the shows coming up. We'll have predictions next week, in fact, for AEW Revolution.
That's a big
our first AEW predictions.
It's our first. It's our first one. Obviously, you two joint one at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I think am I second overall now?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
you are.
I'm back into third.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, so
Somehow.
yeah,
RM Punk still leads the way.
Krusty sneaking up the leaderboard. Fisher's somewhere down there. I don't know how you
Oh,
do it, Fisher.
I'm not.
You
I'm
alright?
only 1 point behind Krusty.
Oh, okay.
I'm not far behind.
Not like last year when you were like 20.
Yeah, but we scored it slightly differently then. So
Just wanted to get that in there.
I think I'd be about level with you if we were doing it in the same way. I think,
So,
but yeah, it's not a lot in it, to be honest.
I'm top of the recharge voice. That's what that matters. That's all that matters.
Not for long.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
AEW one's going to be more interesting because it's going to throw different. I don't think it's as predictable.
Yeah, RM Punk. What do you think of AEW?
He'll probably still do well, I'm sure.
Yeah, he is good on Punk.
There'll
Yeah.
be some. We might get a few different people that are better on AEW.
Stuff
or
like the
worse on
ladder
it.
matches are just like a big finger in the air, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, even like MJF Punk is a bit. That could go either way. Like usually in WWE you have a good indication of where they're going because we're used to the booking. AEW we're not quite as used to the booking like patterns, so we kind of there's a bit more guesswork I think of AEW, which is good.
yeah, definitely. Right, so that's it then, I guess, for this week, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, check us out on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle, and obviously on our YouTube channel. Just type in Recharge Wrestling. Also we're also on the Robot Republic network on both YouTube and podcast form as well. So check them out. Their Twitter handle is at Robot Republic _. Yeah, so we'll be doing our normal show next week, and then we'll probably do a review for Revolution when that comes around. So look out for that. Keep interacting with us on Twitter. We might put some polls or something up. We haven't done that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe to do with
Let's throw a poll out.
maybe to do with Mania or something like that. Keep interacting with us. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
See you later.
Bye-bye.